Hello, London. This is Mayor Weddle. You know, I said in some videos prior to this one that it's important that we put fact over fiction. And I'd like to start this one off of talking about the budget. How a budget's prepared is the mayor's office prepares it, and then historically we bring it before council, and then council decides where they want these funds, how they want things paid. Now this year, we presented council with a budget, they passed it. Last year, same thing. The budget's pretty much been the same even with the prior mayor. As the city grows, of course, the amounts does fluctuate and they change and things of that nature. But something I wanted to talk about in the beginning of this video was the employees' pay. Something I heard even council say during their meeting was, you've hired employees illegally. That's not a true statement. And that's what some of these documents, and I don't even know who they're applying that to, what employee I questioned, they didn't answer. So I just want to go over some facts. Before coming into office, there was a pay scale that was passed that Juddy and Kelly even voted yes to. That pay scale significantly raised everybody across the board in the city. Now, if you look at the budget and pay scale they just passed here recently, the pay scale goes off of years of experience. And they said, well, you maxed everybody out. That is not true either. The ones with the highest experience, they were put in the top grade. And that's the way we based it off. The same thing that their ordinance now on the pay scale is going to do. Matter of fact, there's some employees that will get a raise because of years experience, and then because that's the one they just set, but then their budget is going to significantly cut the majority of the employees, and then their pay scale is going to cut majority of the employees because you have to have at least 20, 25 years experience for that to really have an impact on you. So anybody below that is, going to have a massive reduction. But to show you the facts, in 2022, in the latter part, they passed a pay scale which significantly raised, a lot of the employees. Now, all the employees did not get to feel the impact of that pay scale. One of the things that I said when I was coming into office, and I met with most of all the council people before we took office and before we were sworn in, I had concerns with that pay scale and the impact that it would have. Now in 2023, council did repeal that. There was a subcommittee put together that consisted of Kelly and Justin, both were on that subcommittee, and it's the council's job to come up with what they feel like a good pay scale is, working with the mayor's office. That was never done. Before I took office, matter of fact, there was a K-9 unit that was making more than the chief of police over there. So it's little things like that as politicians, people try to deflect and blame other people, but when you have documentation that says, hey, no, that's not how it really went, it's hard to hide from that. And let's go back to the earliest one. In January the 2nd of 23, there was raises given out to the street department and sanitation for $1 across the board. It was voted unanimously. Kelly and Justin both said yes. Again, in January the 13th, you will see where discussion and approval increased the CDL drivers from $20 an hour, increasing the current driver's pay up to $3 an hour. And it, again, voted unanimously across the board of all the council members, Kelly and Justin both saying yes. Now, With that taking place and the raises that council had gave those groups, it was kind of pushing them out of the pay scale. That's why my office took that to them. Now, they want to talk about us hiring people, creating positions, and one thing that I heard out of the council was the IT department. So let's talk about that. In January the 2nd of 23, you can even go back on video, I brought up to council the importance of having this IT department that they already had and have had, but what they were doing is they was using a firefighter and a police officer. And I said in that council meeting, we're paying them hazardous duty to do these jobs. Let's just create a department so we're not paying hazardous duty to do those jobs. And council, once again, if you look at the minutes, it said Eric Staller and Brian Johnson were present and gave a presentation at the City Council regarding the information technology overview and the needs of the City of London. A motion was made by Kelly Green and second by Stacy Benge in the creation of the Information Technology Department and to add a line item in the city budget. Kelly and Justin both voted yes. Again, I did not create anything. I took it before council to approve. Because prior to this, one of the things that the city fails on their yearly audits is that too many employees in our city have too many job titles. Now, what's the problem with that? When a person's inundated in work, something's going to get neglected. Like let's talk about PR. If you go through all the budgets of the city, each department has always had a PR person. I did not create that department. It's been standing. Matter of fact, before I took office, they had hired one person, plus Willie Sawyers was doing the council meetings, but there was actually an individual person that worked in the city that was handling the PR for the fire and the police. So it's been in our budget, it's been happening, and it's needed. If people was not receiving information regarding what was happening inside their cities, they would just be just as concerned. And that's what that individual does. It puts out content showing you where your tax dollars are going across all of the city. So there has been no new positions created inside this city at all. All of the positions that's currently here have been here. Now they keep, again, going back to, we've tried to find out where they're saying people were illegally hired. Let's talk about your city officers, every position there. When we talk about approving the building inspector, Josh Wilson, in March of 6th of 23, you'll find in the minutes that council approved the hiring. Matter of fact, Kelly was one of the ones that voted yes to this, of Josh Wilson. If you go to March the 6th, 2023, in the minutes, you'll find the Public Works Director, Philip Rollins, again, voted unanimously to hiring. If you go to August the 1st, let's skip up all the way there. This is talking about the chiefs of police and stuff like this. Jerry Hollins, when he was hired, the chief voted yes. You talk about the hiring of Donnie Hale as the chief of the fire department, unanimous, all voted yes. So there was no new positions created there. There was nobody hired without council's approval at all. So let's talk about the city clerk here. The prior city clerk, again, she was appointed by council. And council actually, Kelly and Justin, who was on the council at the time, set her pay rate. And then at one point, they actually gave her a raise. It's in the minutes. A motion was made by councilperson Kelly Green and seconded by councilperson Kip Jarvis to give city clerk a raise based on performance, increased roles and duties. And it was voted unanimously. Justin and Kelly both said yes. I just want the facts to be out there regarding the pay. They did this to the last mayor. They said that he overpaid, da-da-da-da. These things come before council. And the pay rates and all this stuff, and council said it. Like this year, they brought back the pay scale. And then after the impeachment, they decided to change the pay scale after they brought the old one back. So, not quite understanding that, and that's for another topic. But don't say that someone created illegal positions or hired people illegally when council is approved everything we've done, and they've done it in the meetings with motions, or they've done it inside their budget. There is nothing that my office is doing that we try not to communicate to our city council. And if we could go back to a meeting that we were having, I think it may have been in March of 2023, Kelly actually calls me out and says that we are moving too fast. A lot of ordinances had not been touched in many, many years, and we were trying to update and go through as many as we could. But it became a table session.
I told you in other meetings that our first couple agendas with a new council, they were huge.
And a new mayor.
Council could
New
not,
mayor.
And a new mayor. They were so huge they couldn't even comprehend everything that was going on. They would have been huge for people that had been on there for years. And I told you that from this stand right here that we need to slow things down.
You see for yourself. I have been trying to clean up and trying to move the city into a better position. But then you watch historically the meetings. It became a table. And then I couldn't bring any ordinances before them without a sponsor. Needed a sponsor. It would total government shutdown. I basically had the first couple of meetings of my first term to get things done, and then it became pushback. And then the second year, table, nothing really getting accomplished with our council. And let's talk about this year. We've had a tornado, and then it was an impeachment. And then again, now we're going on 12 months of council being retaliatory against me and the city staff. So you can't sit here and push blame when it comes to the finances of this city, of where they're being appropriated at, to just the mayor. Council, again, has the due diligence to be involved in this city government, finding out what's best and how it's best to lead this city, and what is best for the public and safety and their welfare, and not doing things in a retaliatory manner. But to say things that's just simply not true, that can be brought back with receipts, just doesn't make sense to me. This team across this city works every day to try to better this city. And we're going to continue to do that. But to make it look like the mayor has created all these positions and put all these people in these places, the reality is I have not created one position inside this city. And there has not been anybody out of my family that's been hired to work inside this city. We follow the ordinance on nepotism that council themselves changed, and we follow it to a T. Just like all the ordinances that I'm aware of. Now remember, there is hundreds of ordinances, and council, well, Justin and Kelly have been made aware many a times that many of our ordinances need to be looked at or updated. There's a lot more work that needs to be done, but we have to have a council that's willing to do it, and do it in a way that's not vindictive or hurtful to the people that live here or the people that work here. London, I suggest that you go get the facts before you decide to agree or to think something when it's simply not true, because it harms innocent people and it makes honest people look like liars when we're believing the lies that's being told. We've always tried to communicate openly to council, especially when we had a council that we could actually talk to. And I still say this, and I'll keep saying it. I have no hate in my heart to those people. I want to see London move forward, and my hand, the olive branch, will still remain out when they decide they want to start working for the people of London and working for the people that work inside this city versus personal agendas. As always, London, thank you. I know these are terrible times when it comes to the council meetings, but we are going to get through it. We just got to keep putting out the truth. Thank you.